Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is JGOD. In today's video, we're going to focus on the Switchblade best class setup as well as doing a map breakdown for the map Summit on Kill Confirmed. If you're actually looking to get your hands on this weapon, make sure you reach tier 100 in the Operation Grand Heist. Since it was such a high tier, I did wait a little bit before I put out this best class setup. And then I also was hoping that they'd do a buff for this weapon, which they eventually did. They actually buffed it in a couple different ways. One is they buffed the ammo capacity from 26 up to 30, and then they also went ahead and made it so you spawned in with 3 magazines instead of 2. I was actually very happy that they made this change because it was a complete game changer for the weapon. Now it's a little bit easier to get those double and triple kills on a regular basis. That being said, a quick reminder, if you do enjoy any part of the video, make sure you do hit that like button. If you want to find your way back, make sure you do subscribe. And if you're one of those 79% that continue to find your way back to the channel, just go ahead and do me a quick favor, double check, make sure you're subscribed, because we are on the road to getting this number closer to 50%. So what I have on the screen now is the overhead view of the map Summit, and you can see how it's split up. There's a yellow line that divides it into 2 sections, and then there's 2 green lines that divide those sections into 2 smaller sections, which you can see on the screen, and those red shaded in areas are the spawns. So before we move on to the gameplay breakdown, let's go ahead and get into the best class setup that I found for the Switchblade. So I actually played with it quite a bit to experiment and see which attachments I like the best. Personally, I preferred having an ELO sight. I also liked having rapid fire because I felt like it made the gun just that much more competitive, especially against some of the other SMGs in the game. Also, since this weapon has a little bit of kick, I did decide to go with the grip. I don't typically run a grip in most cases, but I think you definitely need it on this one, especially at those medium ranges. You could tend to miss a few shots that you 100% do not need to miss. Even though the magazine was already buffed, I still go with those hybrid mags because I still think you need that extra bit of ammo to make sure you get those doubles and triple kills. And since hybrid mag scales with the base ammo, you kind of get a buff on hybrid mags as well. And the last attachment you see me use is the stock attachment, but you could easily swap that out for more perks if you want to go a little bit more perk heavy in this class setup. The main reason I decided to go with stock is because I wanted to be a harder target to hit for all of my enemies, especially the fact that this weapon is an SMG. You're gonna 9 times out of 10 take a little bit of damage in every single gunfight. And since I went so attachment heavy with this class setup, I'm only running the ComSec device in dead silence. And since I am running that crash specialist, I am saving a perk slot on scavenger. So if you want to mix that up and be a little bit more rush heavy, you're probably gonna want to run the stim shot, maybe gung ho, a little bit of scavenger. It all depends, but that's the class setup I decided to go with for this specific gameplay. Now let's go ahead and jump back into the gameplay breakdown. And typically what I like to point out is that when you maintain map control, you're going to have a majority of your team near this yellow dotted line. And a few members on the team should be pushing towards that green dotted line without actually crossing it, because once you cross it, that's when you start to get a spawn flip. You can see that I'm currently looking at the right side of the map, or the E spawn. So you'll see on the mini map that there's one guy in front of me, but there's also an indication that the spawns have already flipped. So I decided to push through to pretty much force flip them if they haven't already flipped, because sometimes you get those odd spawns where there's too many teammates right next to this yellow line, so the enemies will actually spawn on both sides of you, which get a little bit harder to manage. So now I can already see that all the enemies are spawning in this side of the map. I do have a teammate right there, so I'm looking around, seeing how we're going to control this area because I don't want to push too deep. And there's a guy that actually comes through the middle of the map because he spawned on the left side of the map, but in that little pocket that is right next to the green line, but a little bit towards the bottom of the map. A few people decided to leave the lobby, so I'll skip ahead just a little bit. So even when we have new people cycling in, you can see that all the enemies are directly in front of me. I do have a little bit of opportunity to push up to the spawn. You can see a bunch of tags have been grabbed, but based off of the way the spawn locations are, pretty much everyone should still be in this area. A perfect little sentry gun there that's able to eat up some kills, killing people in the spawn. And before it was hit with an EMP, it was allowing enemies to spawn in that back area behind the building since it didn't have a direct line of sight to the enemies. And in case you're wondering why I'm running the care package, I was actually trying to complete a challenge and I got about 7 in this match. Not sure exactly, but I know I get quite a bit. So obviously with this being an old map, I have a ton of experience playing on this map, but in addition to that, I have a good concept of where people are spawning. And combine that information with me using the Switchblade, I'm able to make sure that I navigate the map in a certain way so that almost all of my engagements are at that point blank range, because that's where this weapon will excel. Since I know the spawns have just flipped, I go ahead and make sure I lock this area down, I call in my care package, wait for it, then I'll go ahead and pick that up and go ahead and use whatever's inside, especially when you combine that with the ComSec device. So I definitely recommend trying it out if you're really struggling to get streaks. Work with the lowest ones possible, cycle them a bunch of times. Once you get a little more comfortable, then you can kind of build your way up to the higher streaks. Now, go ahead and look at the mini map. You can see where all the enemies are spawning. Pretty much everyone is kind of trapped in this general area. I do have an RCXD, not sure when I'm going to go ahead and use that, but I'm kind of just sitting on it. And you can see that there's still someone spawning. That guy actually spawned in this general area, which is the right side of the map. You can see it highlighted in that red box. Now they're all on the other side of the map. People are continuing to leave and join the game, but look at the mini-map. Everyone is spawning to the left side of the map, or that west side of the map if you're looking at the mini-map. And then you can see there's a bunch of enemies on this left side. I want to go ahead and push this because I got to close that distance. Looks like there's someone trying to shoot something out of the sky. On a merciless streak, nothing really crazy. Go ahead and laser that guy. End up running into this guy. I think he thought I was a teammate. Lucked out there because he could have easily killed me. And now I'm positioned over here where the spawns will flip. But since I think I still have a bunch of teammates on the other end of the map, they're kind of anchoring it so all the enemies continue to spawn in this section. And even though I decided to take these engagements because those guys are a little bit distracted, that is not the typical range you're going to want to use this weapon. You see a lot of enemies are still in this area. I do got a teammate right next to me. The spawns haven't 100% flipped. People continue to spawn in this area. As soon as I break a line of sight, you can see them spawn on the mini-map. Since I felt a little sketch about these gunfights, I go to make sure I use my heal. Normally I would use it after I get a little bit closer to the streak, but I felt like it was the better timing. Go ahead and take that guy out. Teammate kind of cleans him up. And since I still have a bunch of teammates kind of on the other side of the map, not really close to that yellow line, the spawns haven't fully flipped. Waiting for my care package again. You can see I got another one. Go ahead and call that in, another RCXD. Not really a fan of using those, since more often than not, with my luck, I end up getting shot while using it. So right here, we got plenty of map support. I got another care package, so I'm just able to cycle those. Not sure if you guys seen how quick I'm getting these, but they're cycling pretty quick. This guy's concerned with shooting stuff out of the sky. Another easy kill. So that's one of the advantages of running these streaks so often. You're either forcing the enemy to pull out their launcher, shoot it down, or change their entire class setup to one that has go. So a lot of times there's decisions that need to be made, but actually put that enemy at a disadvantage. So by the end of the match, I ended up going 31-1. Hopefully you guys did learn something or got something out of the video. If you did, please remember to hit that like button. If you want to find your way back so you can continue to improve at Call of Duty, make sure you do subscribe with notifications on. Also, I'd like to know your thoughts on the changes to the format, so go ahead and comment down below if you're liking the changes, not liking the changes, or whatever the case is. I do appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.